Our training today will be on how to install your ERP onto your server. Now, basically, you'll be looking at this screen. You'd see the screen in two different ways. Either you have it on a DVD and you'd be able to pop open the screen, or you have your installer and you've saved this installer onto your C drive. Okay? Either way, it would bring you onto the screen here. Now, the first thing that you would need to do is go ahead and click on your setup. Now, before we click on setup, there's a few things that we need to make sure that you have set up on your server before we actually install True ERP on it. Okay, so a few things that you would need to actually quite understand between the differences of installing on your server or installing a user is, let me just pop open our little example that we have here. Your server is typically a one-time installation, as you can see here, okay? You would only install True ERP one time on your server, and this is basically where your MySQL server would be running from. And this is also where we would be running or saving all of our databases, okay? After you've installed True ERP onto your server, you would then go ahead and install each user, just like so, that they would actually communicate through a network switch to our server. So again, you would install True ERP as a user on each of these computers that you see here, and you would only have one server that would use the network switch to go ahead and communicate with each user. Okay, so let's go ahead and just make sure that a few things are set up before you install True ERP on your server. The first thing you want to make sure that you have set up is, number one, you have or you saved True ERP on your C drive. Okay, you want to make sure that you save True ERP only on your C drive. After that, within your C drive, you have to have a minimum of at least 4 gig of space in your C drive. Again, a minimum of 4 gig of space within your C drive. Of course, you have to have internet connection. So again, you need to have those three things. You have to have True ERP set up on your C drive, at least 4 gig of space, and internet connection. If you don't already have that set up as we speak right now, please go ahead and make that correction. Okay, after you have those set up, and you do have those three little qualifications, the next thing you need to do is make sure before, again, you run your installer, you have to make sure that you have your firewalls for your Windows as well as your virus, that you've already set up exceptions for them. Okay, you need to set up your exceptions for your firewall and virus firewall, Windows firewall as well. Okay, now how to do that varies between different computers, but really simply, if you go to your control panel and you look for your Windows firewall, as you can see here, click on that. You would typically go to your advanced settings, and from here you have your inbound and outbound rules. Now within your inbound rules, you need to set up a new rule or a new port. Okay, so from here you would click on port and then click on next, and here is where you would actually type down the specific local port that you want. So again, for your inbound, you would have 3309. Again, you need to set up a rule or a port, okay, just like so, and that port is 3309. All right, once you're done with that, you would go ahead and click next. I'm actually not going to do that because I have that already on my computer. The next you want to do is go ahead and click on outbound rules. Again, you want to select new rule, select port, click on next, and from here again specify the name of the port, and that is 3310. Again, that port name is 3310. You want to make sure that you set up these two ports in both your Windows firewall as well as your virus firewalls, okay? Otherwise, TrueERP will not be able to run, and it also will not be able to upload any updates, okay? So again, you have your port of 3310. Again, I'm not going to save that. So if you don't already, or you haven't already done so, please set up those two ports. Again, you need to have your 3309 port as well as your 3310 port. Okay? Again, if you haven't already done so, please press pause and please do so right now. After you have set up your two ports for your firewall as well as your virus firewall, the next thing you need to set up is your router port. Again, your router port, let me just pop open this picture here again. Your router is how your internet communicates with all your devices, okay? And typically your router, you can add your router port either through a software or a hardware, or it could also be through your internet service provider. The most important thing is, once again, depending on how you have your router set up, you need to set up an exception port for open communication with the MySQL. Again, you need to set up an open communication to the MySQL server. All right, that port name is 49500. Again, I'll repeat the port name for open communication to the MySQL server is 49500. Okay, so now that we have on our server set up the two ports for incoming and outgoing, which are 3309 and 3310 for our firewalls, and then we also have set up our router port for open communication with our MySQL, and that port number is 49500. We are now ready to go ahead and run our setup. Alright, so now let's go ahead and click setup. And of course it's going to ask us, and yes, we do want to run it. Alright, now the first thing that's going to pop up here is your software license. Of course, please go ahead and read through this and then click on I do agree, and then click on OK. Alright, now that you have this set up, all you would need to do now, just close this out, is go ahead and click on Install Server. Okay, really simple. You're not installing the user. Remember, that's for later. Those are for the user computers. Right now we are on our server and we would like to install server. So again, click on this and once again, install server. And that's basically it. It's very, very simple. If you've forgotten to run your ports or set up your exceptions for your ports, this will check and it will pop open an error message and let us know that we do not have that communication. So again, once it's running all of this, it will let you know if those ports are not set up. So please make sure that you set up those ports before installing your server. Now it's just going to go ahead and run through everything. Okay? Once you see this install complete, all you need to do now is go ahead and click OK. And you are all set. You have now installed TrueERP on your server. Hope that all made sense. Thank you guys for watching.